system.
What a week in the world of professional wrestling. Happy Wrestling New Year. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I seemingly look like I should be happy, but right now I'm in distress because not only are my orange and blue Knickerbockers down 2-1 in the first round of the NBA playoffs, but what kind of scat is WWE handing the fans literally the first week into a new WWE year? It's okay, because we're going to cover it, because welcome to another episode of the phenomenon known to mankind as Saturday afternoon's main event. But speaking of phenomenon, if somehow, some way you still do not know who in the blue hell I am, I suggest you go back to school or go into your local library, get the biggest dictionary you can find, preferably Merriam-Webster, and look me up under the word phenomenal. Guys, inside a phenomenal one, and of course here on a cool Saturday afternoon, I'm not alone. I have my co-host, my comrade, my brother from another mother in the mention. He is the one and only limousine riding, jet flying, woo! Kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun who is not having a hard time holding his alligators down. So guys, give me 2 claps and a peep snake.
Woo! Yes. One of those days, one of those weekends. As you just said, this is Wrestling New Year. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot of news. We got a lot of happenings. And of course, we have you guys at home joining us for another great Saturday. Of course, we can't do that without those 3 tenets that we always bridge over as the foundation for every great Saturday afternoon. And that's, of course, laughs, good times, and all the wrestling news possible.
Indeed. Peeps, thank you, my friend, for going ahead and being on today. But of course, guys, there is a third here. I always have to bring up this introduction, and I have no problem bringing up this introduction because he is going to restate it in the next couple of seconds. But guys, not only is he my beloved uncle, but he is your uncle! Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Uncle Triple C.
Welcome, and welcome. What? You guys thought that I was going to be miserable? I will take a page out of CM Punk. But folks, now that Wrestlemania season is over with, we are now exactly 1 year away from Wrestlemania 43 in that terrorist country in Saudi Arabia. But guys, don't forget, my boy, the king of the luchadors, Dominic Mysterio, as you see here, is on my shirt. Folks, I am here live in studio. I have come here post WrestleMania to grace the people. The people here on Saturday afternoon's main event. But today, of course, it is again post week after WrestleMania. And if you guys don't know this, I am still your uncle, Triple C here with the people's nature boy and that deadbeat nephew of mine. And you know, I also gained another deadbeat nephew, Caesar, who I was out there in Vegas. Little shout out to you. Well, now I just want to say the 4th member is here on Saturday afternoon's main event. And of course, you guys know him. He is my prestige colleague, Mr. 411
What's up, everybody? How's it going? Ray, phenomenal one. You forgot to mention that the Mets finally broke their 12-game losing streak, only to then lose again after winning 2 in a row. So you got that also. But
how's your Bulls?
Listen,
Wow.
the Bulls just cleaned house. Okay, so now we're hoping to get some competent front office in the building. We'll see what happens. But we're not here to talk about sports.
Okay.
I wanted to just be brief with that. But it's good to be here on a Saturday with everybody on board. Post WrestleMania, lot to get into. Let's not waste any more time. Phenomenal one, take us in.
Hey, no problem. You heard it there from Mr. 411. Guys, the gang's all here. We're happy to go ahead and have you guys watching us, whether you're on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. Follow us on our social media platforms, Instagram being Saturday Afternoons _main event, Twitter being Saturday Main, and our TikTok being Saturday Afternoons ME. With that being said, you guys hear that sound? I mean, it's time for one thing and one thing only. It is time for 3 Rope Talk. All of the professional wrestling news that you can get that correlates within the span of the squared circle. Now look, guys, of course, without further ado, let's start with our review of this past week's WrestleMania, Raw, and SmackDown. Obviously, Cody Rhodes retained in what was probably the worst night 1 since the inception of 2-night WrestleMania main events. Night 1 was just the complete worst. Night 2 blew it out by miles. Light years. We have a new world champion in Roman Reigns. We have a new women's world champion in Liv Morgan. Dom ends up fearing the demon. And
that smile went away real quick.
Yeah, that's why I did it, Phoebes. Come on, you got to get with the program here. But last but not least, Danhausen gets his WrestleMania moment with having dwarfs in the ring as if this was WrestleMania 3. What are we doing here? Okay, anywho, the reality is WrestleMania is in the books. I want to hear what you guys thought about it. Are your thoughts the same as mine? Go from there. Peeps, will start with you.
Night 1 it had some redeemable qualities, but for the most part, Night 1 was dreck. It was absolute dreck. The main event was decent on its own, but there was a lot of nonsense that went on in that match, in that main event, that leads to it leaves a lot to be desired. If you paid a lot of money for those like you and your uncle to have seen WrestleMania in person, and you went to see that, and you realized that of the 6 or so matches on the card that were going to be there, you were not going to get a match that was longer than 15 minutes. And on the broadcast end of watching it at home, seeing the same Hulk Hogan documentary commercial over and over and over again, I probably memorized it by now, what part they were at. That, and then following the main event, which was absolutely not what it should have been. This has been forever poisoned and stained by the interference of TKO and their insistence of trying to add what they thought was what WrestleMania should be. And I think those that have watched WrestleMania, the dichotomy between both Night 1 and Night 2 is completely evident by how it happened. And that main event was not great at all.
All right. Uncle Triple C, we'll go to you.
Well, I'll talk about the positives. Since Nate brought up the negatives, which I don't not disagree with Nate. Liv Morgan, she is the new women's champion. I was happy about that. Also, congratulations to Bianca Belair, as she is pregnant. Happy for her. To Nature's point, as far as the rest of the card, the 6-man tag to open up the show, it was fine. ISO Speed got his WrestleMania moment. Felt that Jacob and Drew I wish these matches would a little longer. The commercials. Listen, even being in the building, I could not believe how much commercials we were getting. Being there, and I'm saying to myself, well, what what is this? And there's the text thread we was going through with some of us as far as like the amount of commercial breaks that there were as far as minute wise. I'm sure next week probably break that down to compare to in-ring work at WrestleMania Night 1. It was atrocious. But overall, for me, I was happy that Liv won the main event. Listen, we talk about ring psychology, in particular in the AEW. This match made absolutely no sense. The ring work was fine, but Cody was wrestling like a heel. And then you had Randy bleeding. I just felt like it was just a combustible trash as far as McAfee and Jelly Roll. But at the end of the day, it was what it was. And again, we'll get to night two. Night two did save it. Mr. 411.
First of all, losing Bianca Belair for another year. Come on now. The timing of that. Everyone wants to say congratulations, but now she's gone again. Like, this is crazy.
I feel like Mr. 401 and I will petition to go ahead and get the Street Profits name changed to the Skeet Profits.
I mean, first of all, how she's ever with that mediocre mid-card Montez Ford when she could be with Mr. 411. I'll never know. I mean, okay, so I'll disagree with the general consensus about Cody and Orton. The reason why it did make sense is because, and you can disagree with this because everyone wants to, listen, kill Stephanie all you want, right? But she went out there and told Cody, if you don't do what the Viper does, and everyone talked about that going in, right? In order to beat the Viper, you have to act like the Viper. So essentially, he went in there, wrestled like a heel because that's the only way he knew he could win. And he won doing that. So that makes sense, a part of the storyline of everyone wanting Cody to be a heel. Now, the crowd didn't really warm to him. They still wanted Orton to win. I don't know, maybe at some point. Now, and then the post-match. I mean, McAfee, you could kill McAfee all day, right? Who knows why they did what they did, having him involved in that. But Cody wins. He's in the ring, and then Orton attacks him and then gives him the punt. We'll talk about the bruise in a second, but I don't want to see this match again. I hope they're not going to that road. I don't like it if they do it again. All that bothered me at the end there. But the match itself, I liked the match until the end.
Until the end. Okay.
There was one spot in the match that I noticed the first time I saw it. I rewatched the main event the day after night 2, just as a refresher to see how it was. There was a spot there where they actually referenced, and I am kind of shocked that they went this route. There was a spot where Randy Orton took a back suplex from Cody, and Randy sold it, got hit with the back suplex, he arched his back, and then he took a swing, and it sounded like he said stupid. If anyone remembers that reference, you'd have to go back to 2009. But there was a reference to I think it was a 10-man tag from Monday Night Raw, where it was in Los Angeles. It was supposed to be in Denver, but it was because of schedule reasons had changed. And there was that same exact move where there was Mr. Kennedy doing a back suplex on Randy Orton, doing the exact same move, same mannerisms from Orton. And the reason why I bring that up is because that particular move in that match actually led to Mr. Kennedy being fired. So I don't understand why they put that particular spot in that match for those that might not have seen it or even remembered that. But I thought that was peculiar, even down to the mannerisms that Orton did. I found that very strange within the match.
I agree as well to that consensus, Peeps, and Mr. 401 for the ending itself. I truly believe that WrestleMania shouldn't have gone off the air with Randy Orton punt kicking Cody Rhodes when he could have used that in his arsenal throughout that whole duration of the match, and then proceeding to go ahead and hold the belt atop for any person that probably didn't even watch WrestleMania and then tuned in at the last second just to see Randy Orton holding the belt. Oh, he's champion. Just to find out that he really didn't even win the match. For me, it was just a whole bunch of, like Uncle Triple C said, combustible scat. Just garbage. Just straight garbage at the end. But all in all, look, night 2, it held back for us. Let's speak about Roman Reigns, CM Punk. Mr. 401, we'll start with you. How did you feel?
Oh, I thought we were gonna go I thought we were gonna talk about Oba first, because
Now I know we want to leave over towards the end, so I don't want to give away too much.
no, I just want to talk about the match and the fact that we talked about going in and our predictions, by the way, which most of us were wrong on a lot of things, right? Let's be honest. But the way they did that, and then Oba winning, I mean, we knew it was going to be short. We knew those two weren't going to go long. And then you hear the reasons why about Brock's health and such, and people talking about how he's walking back, he's holding his waist area, ribs and such, with the diverticulitis. What were you guys shocked? You were there for it when Brock started to do what he did with taking off the gloves and then the boots. What did you guys think?
I think Uncle Triple C and I think we were both to the full degree. We were shocked because for us, we're thinking, okay, this is Brock's farewell tour. He's genuinely about to go ahead and go out on his back and put a couple of guys over, and it seems like it's going to trend towards it being Gunther. And then the minute he begins taking off his gloves, we thought it was genuinely a work. Then he takes off his boots, then he throws up the X, and the rest is history. For me, I feel that it's one thing where they had Brock retire, like Brock wanted to retire right then and there, and I guess instead of wanting to do the job for Gunther, he probably in his head said, Gunther's already a made man. What is this going to equal out and do more for him if we're trying to build a star in Oba? And lo and behold, he puts Oba over and he retires right then and there right after that Oba match. So for me, I feel like Brock in his head was thinking, I don't want to go ahead and go out on my back just to be home. No, I want to help further the next generation. And I think he did that by, putting Oba over and losing the match.
Okay, so is Brock the only guy that's not going to lose a retirement match?
In WWE, maybe that would be the case. I don't know.
Do you see them convincing him to do the Gunther match, or you think that's out of the picture? Because that's the one thing that hit my mind right away. I'm like, wow, Gunther's not going to get this win.
If the match happens in Minnesota, where we think is going to be the case, and they build it up the right way, if they do it as such, because as we saw, Brock lost this match at WrestleMania. If they want to have him go home, have the fans go home happy, and have that lasting memory of Brock leaving SummerSlam, in case they do that, and I could actually see that being the case. Will it happen? I sincerely believe that if there's a Walter match between those two, Walter is going to end up winning that one.
Okay. Well, with that, I think we could go ahead and move to the main event.
All right, so you asked me first, so I'll just go right at it. The match was tremendous psychology between these two. I mean, the way how deliberate they are and everything, and make everything matter, right? We talk about matches and just having move to move to move with nothing mattering, and how the storyline and how it played into the match and the little things we saw throughout the match all the way to the end and the way it ended. If I were to be critical of anything, the only thing I don't like, and I don't know, Punk did this with Rollins at that Netflix debut where they're in the cage and they started trading each other's finishers and kicking out of everything. This match did a little bit too much of that until the end, but overall it was still, I mean, look, we talk about Meltzer's ridiculous star ratings. How does this not get 5 stars? I don't know if he's released that yet, or
yes, and he gave him 5 stars, I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
He gave him 5.
So I nailed it, 5 stars, because I'm watching it live. I'm like, this is 5 stars.
Yes.
I'll say being in this, well, you know what? Instead of hearing from me, hear from Uncle Triple C about it, because the experience was shared alongside him. So, being this was the main event of, the weekend, how did you feel about it?
Being in the building, and for this particular main event, which will go down in the annals of history as one of the great WrestleMania main events in company history. The crowd was electric. The crowd was up for 3/4 of the match. The near falls, and Roman Reigns, and we talk about this all the time. Roman Reigns, like basically 9.9 of a second of him kicking out. The ring psychology, everything about the match itself was tremendous. The crowd was electric. Like I said, I mean, when you're watching on TV, I don't know how I came across. I've yet to watch it back. I don't know how I come across on TV, but being there with piece of hot garbage, I will say that the match, the crowd, the energy was electric.
Indeed. Peeps, we know you had your iced tea and your Tostitos pizza rolls with you. So
Yes.
look, how did you feel about the main event yourself?
The main event of night 2 kind of redeemed WrestleMania as a card in totality. As far as I'm concerned, of the matches that I've seen this year, that is match of the year for me. Based on, as Mr. 411 stated, it had every part of the match had meaning. There was the story of Punk trying to tell his opponent and the audience he's not old. He can still hang with the younger guy. You had Roman Reigns, who's trying to prove that he can drop in and out whenever he wants, and he's still the tribal chief. The part of Roman being able to show how vicious he can be. The spot that comes to mind is mostly Punk hanging upside down in the tree of woe from the outside of the ring and getting 3 Superman punches in the face, which busted him open, and then getting the steel steps heaved at his head. The spot toward the end of the match where both wrestlers were on their knees and both were exhausted, and Punk was trying to throw punches and and he was too tired to even connect. I loved every aspect of that match. The story that they told, the athleticism which was displayed there, the fan reaction as to your uncle's point of how it looked on television. It literally gave you a proper big fight WrestleMania feel from beginning to end, from the entrance to the end with all of the celebration and all of the pomp and circumstance. That was how WrestleMania was supposed to end, and that's how the entire card was supposed to feel. Apparently, it just didn't feel that way throughout the entirety of the show.
I agree. Well, from there, of course, knowing that Raw goes off the air with us knowing that we're going to see Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns down the line, possibly maybe Backlash in Tampa, Florida later this month. Do you guys feel that that's the right person for Roman to face on the first, generation of this World Championship feud? Uncle Triple C.
It's a new season. WrestleMania season's over with. You got to start building other stars. Jacob getting the first title match, more than likely. I don't know if we're going to go Bloodline 2.0, 3.0. I don't know if we're heading that way again. But I will say that it's fine. Who knows what it's going to be as far as after that match happens. Will Jacob join, Roman Reigns, or will he acknowledge Roman Reigns? That story will be yet to tell. But overall, again, we see, new people coming in. I should say new people, but like for example, Ethan Page appearing on Raw, JC Jane last night on SmackDown. I know Ricky Saints will debut next week. Joe Hendry also next week. So this is the time of the year that you got to reset. You got to get new stars in. You got to get new blood in. And
don't forget the old blood out.
Get the old blood.
There's a lot of old blood out that we're going to talk about in a couple minutes. But real quick, I know we're done with WrestleMania, but one thing that did stand out to me was the walk up for night 1 and the attendance that rose from such a lower number. Were you guys shocked to see night 1 as packed as it was after what had been reported?
Trust me when I tell you guys. So on the I guess on TV, which would be the entrance that you guys are watching on TV. So it would be the right entrance, where we were at night one. The upper deck, I guess you want to call it the nosebleeds. It was topped off a lot, going towards backstage, and there were a lot of empty seats on that side of the, of the building. In the upper deck, they said there was 50,000 in the building. Probably there was, but night two definitely had those seats. I was watching, those seats were filled. So there was definitely way more people in night two than there was in night one.
Right, which they said. My point is that the number, I believe, was around 42 going into the day. They had like an 8,000 walk up, if that's even possible.
Yeah.
Put it this way. We had aisle seats. We didn't end up getting our aisle seats. They sat us in the middle because they added extra seats on the floor. And when we try to ask for relocations, they said that they were sold out of relocations. They didn't have another seat that was available in the stadium for WrestleMania that night. So in all duality, I feel like if that number was stretched to an extra 8, 9, 10,000, how they got those extra people in the building? They were shoving in seats on the floor. Genuinely, they were shoving a whole bunch of seats on the floor because it was not looking like this as of earlier this year. Genuinely, I feel like comps had to be available. And of course, we know they boost the number to the staff workers in the stadium, the people around it, the people probably working in the box office.
And more importantly, the celebrities comp tickets as well.
Exactly. And even those that probably weren't even sitting ringside, but were probably just backstage, just chilling. So,
TKO.
The most dangerous letters in all of sports and entertainment. TKO. Good grief.
So I know we talk about it. It took me by storm a little bit of the beginning of Raw, because I'm like, wait, this is supposed to be a new chapter, a new, like you say, a new season, right? And then we get Rhea and Io against Kairi and Asuka, and I'm like, how many times have they done this already? Shouldn't that have been something else going? And I thought, okay, the only reason they're going to do this match is like, we're finally going to get the turn. Io's going to turn on Rhea. That's what I'm thinking as I'm watching this. Something new has to happen, right? No, we get nothing out of that match. Just a match. And then to make matters worse, and we find, of course, we'll talk about the releases. Kyrie gone. So I didn't. What did you guys think when you saw that match? Were you thinking the same thing I was? Like Io's going to turn finally?
I didn't get that feeling. I got the feeling that this was going to be Rhea's last match on Raw before she went off to go to SmackDown. And I think that that's kind of the feeling, at least that I got when I watched it, because the way that they were so chummy, they didn't leave any breadcrumbs that was going to be some sort of a turn. Now, it could have worked, but I just didn't go to feel that was going to be the case as I was watching it.
Right. We get sometimes you get the unexpected turn, and then you get the turn that looks like it's going to be a turn at some point, just when, right? Like Randy. But
exactly.
I don't know. Maybe I'm off on that. I don't know. I just thought, like, why are we getting this match again? They've been doing that match for how long?
I feel like just like WrestleMania, in the same sense, has lost its essence. The Raw after Mania.
Yes. It's not the same.
Where we were in for returns of surprises, people coming back to the company, and all these different new things happening on the Raw after Mania to ring in the new year. We're not getting that anymore.
No.
So genuinely, again, I just feel like they wanted to stuff a whole bunch of stars on that show to say Raw after Mania, it's gonna be special, just for it to be another episode of Raw on Netflix.
Yeah, 100%. You couldn't have said it any better. It was just another Raw, which is, oh well.
Yeah, which is sad. It's their insistence on celebrities is, I think, that's the TKO way. And I don't think I'm going too far with saying this. WrestleMania, as we know it, is done. Indeed. It's no longer the style of WrestleMania that was going to be feuds, create the new star. That's going to be the case, because the main event of both nights were established veterans that were obviously big names that are going to build out of WrestleMania, and the stories that they told made sense. But in general, the insistence on shorter matches, lots of commercials, and way too much insistence on celebrities. That's a TKO thing. And I think going forward, I think that's what you're going to have to expect, especially next year in Saudi Arabia, where there's going to be nothing but celebrities and rich folks, because at this point right now, it seems like they're catering the product to the rich. It's almost like going to see WrestleMania is a luxury now. Brought to you by Riyadh Season, right?
Uncle Triple C, we won't talk about the demon. I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to bring up the demon.
You know, once again, the demon cheated, of course, because I didn't know being there live in person. I did notice that referee was a slow count when Dom, by the way, the king of the luchadors, my boy. By the way, let me just say this. We could talk about, and I've said this last week, Shawn Michaels, who has more losses than victories, and he's called Mr. WrestleMania. Dominic Mysterio, I don't care what all three of you guys say, had the best entrance at WrestleMania this year. But
that doesn't replace the loss. I just want to let you know that.
I could care less what you gotta say, Pokemon. What the hell do you know? Go back and play with your damn stupid cards. But anyway, the way I see it, is that Dominic Mysterio lost, and it's okay, and I'm okay with it, because you wanted to put the demon over. Why? I don't know, but it looks like this feud is going to continue. But let me just say, I saw it in person. Dom did have the shoulder up, but the referee didn't see it, so it does go as a loss to Dominic. But I'm all right. I'm okay, because Dom will get his repentance next week.
By the way, not taking anything away from Dom's entrance, because I loved it also, but I thought Liv's entrance was equally as good. I love that whole
Judgment Day, Mr. 401. Doesn't matter. Liv, Dom, I still win.
Aside from the male dancer going ahead and stealing me and Uncle Shot, but I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Oh boy,
jeez. But all in all, Uncle Triple C brought up something about SmackDown, and of course the resurgence of NXT stars coming to the main roster. One of the ones that got my attention was JCJ.
JCJ.
Yes.
That's JCJ. That's my girl.
Yes.
Okay, Booker. Okay, Booker. You good? But all in all, as it pertains towards JC Jane, we heard the vitriol that the crowd was giving her. Is she already made?
Wow. She got the Dom heat. They gave her the Dom heat. She couldn't speak for more than 3 words before she got booed out of the building almost.
Yup.
That works. Because as we're going to talk about at some point, SmackDown and their women's division needs, and as my uncle used to say, an infusion of owl's blood. Who? They need to have a lot of people in there to fix up what has happened to that women's division and the tag division. But that was perfectly done. The way that they brought them in, I like it, and it's needed.
Indeed.
Yeah. One quick takeaway from last night. I was really surprised that they put the belt on Tiffany, because Julia, I'm watching that match. Her work is like amazing. Julia's work, the point when she goes for the PME and Julia catches her and puts her in the crossface.
Yes.
Like, yo, her work is crazy. And then they take the belt off of her.
I am of the
You don't give her a
mindset
Mania match?
Yes.
That could have been a Mania match. The way they was giving out 6-minute matches at Mania, why couldn't this be a Mania match?
Especially since Tiffany was in a world title match at WrestleMania last year. That doesn't make any sense to me. But even more so, the WWE has completely bungled Julia from the time she's been in this company. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they know what they're doing with her. I don't know if they have an idea of how to use her or who her perfect opponent is. Does she need to be with Kiana James? That's debatable.
No.
But at the same time, we know the reason why they paired them, to get more eyeballs with Kiana onto Julia. Julia doesn't need anybody to be with her on camera. They need to let her cook. And they have done a terrible job since she's been in the company, even with winning the women's US title. Terrible.
Indeed.
And that's coming from a chef. The Nature's also a chef, for those who don't know.
Let him cook.
Everything indeed. But as we heard from Peeps going ahead and bringing up underutilization, let's move from the review of WrestleMania Raw and SmackDown, and let's move to this underutilization. WWE has brought out their new stats releases for the year beginning after WrestleMania. And this list so far is deafening. Alba Fire, Aleister Black, Apollo Crews, Bo Dallas, a.k.a. Uncle Howdy, Dexter Lumis, Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, Nikki Cross, which completes
The Wyatt Six.
The entire Wyatt Six.
The Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. Talk about it. Kyrie Sane, of course, brought up by Mr. 411.
Right.
Santos Escobar, Zelina Vega, and a injured once, but now made full recovery, Zoe Stark.
That's the one that hurts for me.
Husband and wife, by the way, Alistair and Zelina.
Yes.
So, gentlemen.
Did you not say Mr. 401's favorite female wrestler? I didn't hear you say that.
No, she's not. It was a bad information, right?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Bad
Oh,
information.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trust me, I checked every
Thank
dirt sheet
Yeah.
to make sure that name truly wasn't on it. It was
Yes.
not. Yeah, they you know, the IWC loving to spread their BS for a cool weekend of intake and clout. But
First of all, Cardona would be going first before Chelsea ever left.
Yes.
Agreed.
And Chelsea's in a wheelchair, so that should tell you something.
And don't forget, El Jefe Undertaker loves Chelsea and Triple A.
There you go.
you got a point.
Yeah. By the way, everyone's reporting. I'm hearing all this stuff about like AAA being the best show. I gotta watch it. They're even giving clout. They're saying Taker is the current
Booker of the year.
Booker of the year.
Tony Khan, look out! Woo.
No. Mr. 401, I'm telling you, you have to watch it.
I'm going to.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh! Trust me, you're gonna love it. You're gonna like.
Oh.
And they just stole La Catalina from CMLL. Oh yeah, you're gonna. Oh yeah. Forget
Okay,
it.
so which release surprised you the most? Let's go to everybody. Rich, what do you think?
For me, looking off of this piece of paper, as I sat there and looked at the list, the one that hurt me the most, genuinely, was Aleister Black. I'm keeping it $150. For me, looking at Zoe Stark, it was like, okay, like she should be back. Seeing that they just gave again, was I surprised? No, because I mean, wasn't Rich Holland injured, and then we just released him while he was still injured?
Right.
And made a full recovery at all. So what was I going to expect from them? To not release Zoe Stark when she hasn't been on television for how long? But Aleister Black, who has been featured prominently, who was heard by the dirt sheets as to be the true voice inside Randy Orton's head during this whole WrestleMania main event debacle. But
Yes.
then Ari Emanuel chose to go with Pat McAfee.
Wait, what? I didn't hear that. I didn't know
Yes.
Aleister Black was going to be the voice.
He was
that
supposed to be the voice.
true- that was the person that was supposed to be the true voice. That's
And
what
what's-
Triple H wanted to go with.
And the start of that was, if you remember, Orton's last loss before WrestleMania was to Aleister Black, which
Yeah.
was supposed to set all of this in motion.
That makes
So-
sense.
Yes. I tell you, Kyrie Sane, that surprised a ton of us because as we were going and watching this almost 8-month feud going on between Asuka and Kyrie Sane and Io Sky and Rhea Ripley and what was going on with that dynamic of the Asuka bullying Kyrie Sane. We were literally this close to getting Kyrie Sane finally standing up to Asuka. And they didn't allow her to finish that story at all. Aleister Black makes zero sense to me because they used Aleister Black to replace Karrion Kross and Scarlett. They basically let those guys go and brought in Aleister Black and then teamed them with Zelina. Zelina, who had been cut before because she didn't want to release her. I think she has a Twitch gaming site.
Yeah, exactly that.
And that was around the time when Vince was trying to tell everybody You can't have these side websites or whatever unless we get a piece of it. She said, no, they cut her. That makes no sense. The Wyatt Six and their insistence of not knowing what to do with them. They spent so much money in promotion and marketing. And as Phenomenal One and I would do on this show before, was going through the detective work of what's going on in that rabbit hole and what's this QR code. They went through a Scooby-Doo amount of clues to find out what was going on. And it led to that. What are they doing? The Motor City Machine Guns getting cut. They just got here a year ago. Won the tag team titles in their second showing on SmackDown. And as we talked about with a lot of these cuts, SmackDown took the brunt of a lot of these cuts because they not only did they kneecap the tag team division, the women's division had been kneecapped as well. So I don't know.
And I'm curious, I don't think a lot of these people are going to go to AEW. I think TNA is going to be the smart company to pick up a lot of these people. That has to happen because they need names. They need any kind of name. AEW
unless TNA, with their relationship with WWE, ends up getting into some kind of a problem with that.
No,
the only way that becomes an issue.
WWE's not going to care if they use their ex people. It's not. I doubt that. I'd be surprised. Oh, one name, my name, by the way, and he's been horribly misused for so long, and because he can talk, he can work everything, even though English is not his first language. Tremendous, Santos Escobar.
Yes.
That's a guy that should be somebody bigger than what he was.
Yes.
And I felt like he was being utilized by The Undertaker in AAA to a good extent, to where I loved the resurgence of Santos Escobar in AAA.
Yes.
See, I did not even know about that because I haven't seen the show.
Yes.
And it could have been exploited in a much more better way to get Santos over in AAA and have that be his home state for a cool little minute. It would have been great to have that, but of course, business is business.
Well, here's a question. What if The Undertaker goes to bat for him and then we find out he kind of gets re-signed a la Ron Killings?
I can see that. I can see that happening. But it is also going to it's going to depend on what happens with TKO. Because TKO continues to talk about, well, we've cut all of these people as roster cuts and roster cuts. Do you know how much money Ari Emanuel made last year?
Right.
$67.4 million.
Right.
As a CEO of TKO. And they're complaining about roster cuts. It's
disgusting.
Insane.
You know what?
It's insane.
You know what? F Whitey.
I'm sure Ari Emanuel has cultural significance, but I'm gonna go ahead and keep my mouth shut because this is a family channel. Uncle Triple C, who's the one that got you shocked out of this out of these list of cuts?
I listened to all three of you guys. I'll tell you the one guy that to me that should have been cut. And by the way, I never want to see anybody lose their job. Is Adam Pearce? He should have lost his job because I should have not been booked against that demon. That's why I need a drink.
What a way! You need a drink? Okay, what a way to segue into the next individual that we're going to be talking about. Ric Flair, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, this is the great part of the show. Are we strutting? Okay, hold on. I got to stop real quick. Woo! Okay, there we go. Perfect. Pop the Viagra, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking Flair right now. Of course, Ric Flair has now went ahead and gone off the deep end. And no, ladies and gentlemen, this does not mean he created suicide, but probably has had career suicide for the 97th time. Goes on a show, ends up going ahead and talking to Ariel Helwani, disposes a whole lot about the inner parts of the business, goes on about how he was banned from showing up at WrestleMania because he threatened to beat up Ludwig Kaiser, and that Kaiser would catch his fist any day. I guess Flair still thinks he's in the 80s and he's a 60-minute man. But all in all, he goes out and even starts talking crap about his podcast hosts, other people outside the company. It just went everywhere. We're going to leave it to the one and only People's Nature Boy to speak about his boy.
I sat on this for a couple of days. right now, I really would like to just rip into Flair. At this point, I've ripped into Flair before, but at the same time, I actually pity him. I have a lot of pity for him. And here's the reason why. Flair seems as snowflake-ish as a lot of people that we've seen in that realm that are of a celebrity status. And he is very thin-skinned. He's shown that he's very vulnerable, and he also is one of those type of people that is very hard to get his self-esteem good. He's always suffered from insecurities. Well, this interview was all over the place. As you talked about, you speculated and talked about his insistence on defending his daughter Charlotte through the whole Tiffany Stratton, Ludwig Kaiser issue, and he apparently stated that he was supposed to be at WrestleMania last year, but he was banned because he threatened to beat him up. And I'm going to give you his exact quote, and it's on it's on lunacy right now. Quote: "I threatened to beat up Tiffany Stratton's husband last year. Mind you, they're not married.
Nope.
And I wasn't allowed to go. A 24-year-old kid, Ludwig is not 24.
Nope.
On being threatened by a 76-year-old man, and I can't go to WrestleMania. Are you kidding me? That English kid, he's not English.
No.
He's going to go as far in wrestling as a gnat. Mind you.
El Grande Americano.
Yes.
Yo, why does this sound like a Hogan line? Hogan's been dead for a month.
And here's the damning, I guess this was what he figured was going to be the zinger. He'll be a fly on the wall in a year. I got news for you, Rick. Ludwig Kaiser is 35 years old. He's German. He's a second generation wrestler. His father, Alex, trained him. And by the way, he's been wrestling for 18 years. Just to inform Flair on that one. So I'm going to move on that part of it. He also had then continued. They said they had this thing where Tiffany made a smart remark about Ashley's divorces, his daughter Charlotte's real first name, which we know she's not smart enough to have written. So he just threw creative in the toilet for WWE, the company that his daughter works at. Somebody gave her the script. And then he implied, I'm just going based on social media once again, which is a lot, that he was implying that he wouldn't mind a one-off with Ashley. Did we forget it was Charlotte that opened her mouth and said that was the your man is in my DMs? This wasn't something that Charlotte said herself. We forget about that. Anyway, the other thing that he talked about was, I went, okay, I need your number. I got it, in which I get anybody's number I want at any minute of any day. And I called him and I said, hey, when I see you, I'm going to beat the scat out of you. So he went in like a little biznitch, told Hunter, and I wasn't allowed to go. So what Flair is insinuating is that he was banned from WrestleMania last year because he threatened to get into a fight with the then boyfriend of his daughter's opponent from last year. That's what kept him banned off of the WrestleMania card last year. You fast forward this year, and then he talks about how he was going to be at WrestleMania, and he said he got a call from Dennis Rodman to see if he could induct him into the WWE Hall of Fame. And he was banned because of that. I have news for you, Rick. The reason has nothing to do with anything that you're saying about why they would keep me away and ban me or whatever. Maybe it has everything to do with, and I talked about this a couple weeks ago, you are a contracted AEW wrestler. Maybe that has something to do with it. Or also maybe the fact that they were saying if he gets a couple of drinks in him at this event, they might be afraid of what would happen. So I think that there was some of that there. And it's the entire interview was kind of like a train wreck where he was all over the place. And he talked about how he should have had the red carpet rolled out for him for the Hall of Fame. And I put all of these people over. I'm the greatest ever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Flair has done more to destroy what's left of the currency that he has developed in this business by just him being him. We remember the cameo interview that he went on a drunken rampage, the pizza spot from last year where he went on a drunken rampage, etc., etc., etc. Flair is his own worst enemy when he is either talking about himself, talking about his daughter, which we know he loves his daughter. I understand that. But right now, I feel more pity for Flair than anything. And this is coming from an admitted diehard Ric Flair fan, that it is sad to see what he has become now than what he was before.
You know what it is? It's because he's an old man that probably has Alzheimer's and he has his own cannabis called Ric Flair Drip. In the words of Stephen A. Smith, hey Rick, news flash for you. Stay off the damn weed.
Don't forget about Woo Wings. Woo!
Yes.
Woo Wings. By the way, Stephen A. Smith got cursed apparently, right?
Yes, apparently. Of course. And by proxy, so did the Knicks. So it is what it is. I'll digress. There's your first I digress is coming from me. So there you go.
By the way, game 4 tonight, 6:00.
Yes.
We're bringing a curse tonight, okay?
Yes.
Jeez.
Well, seriously, what do you guys think of this whole thing with Flair? Because where I stand is probably where a lot of people stand. Mr. 411, what do you actually think as far as this whole interview goes?
There's not much more I can say than what you already said. You kind of wrote a book about it. I mean, I don't know.
I can tell you this was the audiobook in search of research project / call. Look, peeps, that was your whole college resume in one sitting.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. But we'll go ahead and review real quick the AEW Dynamite show from this past Wednesday. If Uncle Triple C feels the need to dim the lights, he can.
Who watched it? Anybody watch? Wait. You know what I can say? If you guys watched it, guess who didn't? A huge ratings dump, right, Nate? We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yes.
Indeed.
Boy, did they drop.
Indeed.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to segue to immediately after. So, peeps, of course, when it comes down to it, a pretty much lackluster show from Dynamite other than the match between Darby Allin and Tommaso Ciampa, right?
Yes. It was a bookend show where the top of the show was good and the main event of the show was good. Basically, what they're doing is they're trying to get Darby Allin's World Championship reign started by having MJF, who was absolutely livid over losing his championship last week, and then going into the ring and cutting a promo and talking about how Darby Allin doesn't deserve to be champ, etc., etc. And then, of course, at the top of the show, they brought in, of all people, Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight, who is basically saying, I'm TNT champ. I look good. I want to now be known as, what does he call him? Kevin Two Belt. Sounds like a pretty good name because he wants to get a shot at the world championship. And there was that little back and forth between MJF and Kevin Knight, which then eventually led to Kevin Knight having to defend the TNT championship next week, which would be this Wednesday, against MJF. MJF said he didn't care about the TNT belt, but he also said it would probably look good with him on his waist.
Wait. I'm confused here, okay? I thought, and I asked you guys this, after MJF dropped the title to Darby Allin, if he was taking a hiatus.
Yes.
Now he's not?
Apparently not. So apparently from what all of the reports were was that he was going to do a movie imminently. And either maybe there was some sort of scheduling, something happening with when the timetable is of when the filming of whatever he was going to be doing, whatever the project is. Maybe it's a little bit on hold, but right now he's going to go ahead and move forward with this building of Kevin Knight and himself in this quest over the TNT championship. So they did that.
Wait, now, so you think Darby's now going to have an extended run with this title? What is the plan here?
Here's what I think. I think as far as the AEW title goes, I think they're going to start having kind of like a cavalcade of wrestlers that want their title shot at Darby Allin as we're going forward towards Double or Nothing, which is going to be in Queens. If whatever happens with MJF leads to him potentially maybe getting a title shot or a rematch or whatever at Double or Nothing in New York, he's from the area. He's from Long Island. But if that was the case, maybe that's where they're heading. So the next match on the docket toward the end, which was the main event, was Tommaso Ciampa and Darby Allin, and that match was really good to the extent that they teased as MJF came out before that match. He decided to rant and rave about he shouldn't get a title shot, and he stayed out there. Tommaso Ciampa came out from the ramp. There was a stare down between MJF and Tommaso Ciampa, and Tommaso Ciampa kissed MJF on the cheek on the way into the ring. So that's what kind of built that match. And as the Phenomenal One did get a chance to see, that Tommaso Ciampa Darby Allin main event was a really good match.
Okay, wait, hold on a second. Sorry, me and your uncle. By the way, your uncle, who is from Queens.
The greatest borough in the history of my hometown of New York City. And by the way, Taz, in case if anybody doesn't know, I've always hated Taz. He is still the biggest piece of Brooklyn Red Hook Trailer Park trash because Brooklyn is the worst borough in the history of New York. But, hey, Mr. 411, hey, listen, hey, I looked at this book. I'm just saying, Mr. 411, hey, maybe we could actually, bring some peace to the terrorists. But that's all I'm saying.
Oh, man.
Shows up. By the way, I heard the WBD has allowed us extra time today, so
Okay, we'll get the overrun. Cool, no problem.
Yes.
You know what? Let's go into the ratings right now, peeps. Give us the ratings.
Oh boy, that yes. Okay, AEW, they won once again, but not by as much as they've been winning over the recent last few weeks. AEW won the ratings 617,000 viewers with a 0.10 in the rating, where NXT did 591,000 and they did a 0.10 in the rating. Last week's TNA, which we get the ratings the week after, they did 212,000 with a 0.05 in the rating as well. And more importantly, on the theme of what we've been talking about as far as WrestleMania, I actually have the ratings for night 1 and night 2 of the hour that they were shown on there. And I was very interested in looking at that. Whereas night 1, the first hour, 6 to 7 o'clock, which was at on ESPN2, did a 1.616 million with a 0.62 in the demo. Night 2 on ESPN did a 1.822 million, and they got a 0.65 in the rating.
Nate, the casual fan is dead. Those numbers have to be north of 2 million, if not 2.5. That I know it's not free TV. I get it, right? It's still you have to pay for cable or pay for the app or whatever you're paying for to see ESPN regular. But for that number to look like a regular SmackDown on Fox from a year or so ago rating or a good Raw rating, that's unacceptable. Rich, you agree here, right?
I agree wholeheartedly. It's WrestleMania. They're giving you the first hour free. And I would think that from those within combat sports who know Brock Lesnar, you're hearing that Brock Lesnar is taking on another guy who's literally his size. And you're hearing, oh, Brock? Wait, Brock is still wrestling? Oh, I'm not a casual fan. I'll still tune into it. Do we even have the quarter-hour runs for that, peeps? Because I would like
they don't have the quarter-hour breakdowns, but I tell you this though, that is not to say depressing, but it's in the extent of whatever the CEOs of ESPN are going to say. They're going to say, "Oh, this did better than what we thought. It was going to do well. We will run it." They'll say that publicly. Privately, they're probably pissed off at the amount of money that they've spent to get just that number.
Indeed.
Not good at all.
That's terrible. That's a
bad number. It's a bad number. But again, do it all in all, peeps. Thank you for the ratings, my friend. We'll go ahead and move along here. Question of the week. This one gets to go to Long Island Isaiah. He says, what does CM Punk do now that he's done everything?
Well, they kind of set it up for us. He has one thing to do. It's Cody.
Yeah.
Cody's the one thing left.
You really think that's the one thing left? So we're getting Cody Rhodes, CM Punk next year? That's what the goal is?
At some point, yes.
Yeah. And they teased that within the last few months anyway, when they were in the ring and they had this kind of argument when they were both champ just a few months ago.
Would you do it at SummerSlam, or would you tease it, to the point where we get to WrestleMania? Or at least
this is
Royal Rumble towards WrestleMania.
This is a WrestleMania match to me.
Yes.
I feel like this is your Austin Bret Hart moment. If there was any time for you guys to have another double churn WrestleMania match that would go ahead and have a seismic shift in the company, it would be next year. At a TKO show where Cody is literally against TKO in Saudi for an expensive WrestleMania that prices out the domestic fans. Cody is fighting the system. And
Cody's a company guy. I don't agree with you, Nick, Phenomenal One. I think Punk would be the better mic person for that.
Indeed, but I'm thinking at the same time, if we're going into Punk being the heel at WrestleMania 43, that's perfect. But I'm saying when it's all settled and the dust settles and it's all done, I would want to see Cody Rhodes come out and be a heel out of that.
You fans are fickle, but I'm sorry.
Bury him.
2 years ago, you fans was talking about finish the story, the Cody crybabies, and then now, turn them heel. Listen, just like John Cena, okay, for 20 years, he never turned. Listen, Cody, I expect him to turn sometime down the road, but I'm sorry. I just, listen, you are a deadbeat nephew, and it's not making any sense to me. So the way I look at it is like, you know what? Cody, stay babyface. You are the QB1. Keep doing what you're doing. CM Punk, you have the better mic skills. You're more believable. Turn on TKO.
Yeah. I think. Okay. Nate, I'm sorry. Real quick, I want to get this in. My biggest concern about this match and waiting until next year's WrestleMania is CM Punk being closer to 50 and the wear and tear. Listen, the work. The reason why the match with Roman worked is because it was slow paced. He didn't have to do a lot of spots. And I'm not saying I'll have to do the same with Cody because it could be the same kind of match. However, injuries is the biggest concern as he ages.
Yeah. And I think also the biggest concern is the fans and how they would feel towards Cody. Because it's tough for Cody to continue to keep the fan interest on him without them fully turning on him. Because there are moments where you can hear the fans, they cheer for him, and then it's kind of palpable where it starts to change, and then it's like all of a sudden they're starting to turn, and then Cody will say something within the interview that gets the fans back on him. That's going to be tough for him to do unless the overarching story for him to explain is something along the lines of something against TKO, because that rallied the fans on his side.
Okay. Uncle Triple C, what are your thoughts?
I'm not gonna lie to you.
The liquid courage has gotten to kick in effect.
Easy, top it out. You topped out. You topped out.
More like you effed up. You effed up.
I did.
No more acai moonsaults for you, huh?
Wait, why was Vic Joseph on SmackDown last night?
He was. I watched it.
Yeah, you know what? You got a point there. I forgot about that.
That's terrible.
They don't even get to explaining that.
Hey, by the way, I love Vic Joseph. I think Vic Joseph does a tremendous job on NXT with Booker.
Yes.
Maybe Joe Tesserone had something to do.
He probably had some sports related, maybe NFL draft something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably showed up on College Game Day for the second through third round. Maybe. No. But all in all, as we move away from that, we move now to our final topic. Should Obafemi become world champion this year? We saw the WrestleMania match. We saw the squash. We saw what it took to defeat Brock Lesnar and eventually retire him. And we saw what he said the following Monday on Raw. Is Obafemi due for the Brock Lesnar treatment in his debut year? Is he going to be the next individual in his first year on the main roster to win the title after a couple of months of being there? Peeps, what do you think?
You know what? I'll throw it to your uncle first, and then I'll see what he says, and then I'll piggyback off of that.
Seemingly, I'm gonna start with Roman Reigns. He said he's going to be here for the entire summer. That tells me that he will be there in Minnesota at SummerSlam. Brock Lesnar, some almost 20 years ago, defeated The Rock at SummerSlam at the time as one of the youngest world champions ever in the history of the company. Obafemi, obviously he's not that young. Obafemi is already, just as we just saw this past WrestleMania, he is the next big thing. Obafemi versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. That's the way I would book it, and I'm giving the title to to Obafemi, and let him, lead the next generation into next year's WrestleMania. That's the way I book it. Pete Snake?
That makes a lot of sense. And if you're looking to do a refresh, a reset, because it seems to me that TKO, in the way that they're seeming to book and the way that they're influencing everything, and especially with all of the releases, I kind of wonder if the brand split is going to stay the way it is, because you don't cut that many people on the roster and then still do something like this without maybe saying we're going to reset rosters and start moving things along. So if we're going to be doing that, you're going to have somebody young at the top of the card that is ready and willing to get the fan base energized. And Oba is really the closest thing to that fireball that comes out and burns everything in front of you.
Yeah, like nature's hemorrhoids.
Oh, good Lord. As I see right now, if Oba is going to be that guy, and they put the rocket on his back and they bring him to stardom with what he's already doing, it's only a matter of time. Can they do it at SummerSlam? Yes, I can see that. Will they pull that trigger then? I don't know. I think they want this to kind of simmer some and give him some credible opponents, because right now he's hot. We've also seen WWE take the wrestler that is the hottest and not do anything with them sometimes. LA Knight comes to mind, where he was the hottest thing going and everybody thought he was going to be main eventing pay-per-views or premium live events, maybe get a run at a championship. And outside of the U.S. title, he's really done nothing since. So I hope they manage that with Oba the right way.
I think it all matters in what storyline is already written for this Roman Reigns chapter. That will determine Oba's fate in the short term.
Yes.
Okay. Well, look, it's not a problem. We have time to see what is going to happen. It's a new wrestling year. A whole lot of new things are going to happen in the world of WWE, so guys, stay tuned. But with that being said, we'll see you guys next week on the next episode of Saturday Afternoon's Main Event. As for today, our time has been drawn near. So guys, see you next week on the following episode of the same. Thank you for watching today. Just remember, this is the same. We're out of Phenomenal One.
And I, the Peeps Nate.
And your uncle, listen, I've been reading. Listen, they may have bought your uncle. Triple C.
Okay, so I'll just ask you, do some research. Is public intoxication okay in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia?
I hope so, because there is some nice celebrations, believe you me. But hey, go ahead.
How many autographs did you guys sign at WrestleMania? Were there the same fans out at WrestleMania?
I will say, before I go off the air, because your uncle has had a lot of liquid courage. I just want to say, I want to thank the people of Las Vegas that we met, a lot of the fans. I want to say thank you guys. Hey, you guys were awesome. Seeing you guys and just interacting, it was amazing. This year's WrestleMania week, whatever, it was phenomenal. But he's still a piece of hot garbage. I'm sorry. But anyway, I am your uncle, Triple C, and for my prestige colleague. Before I get to you, I just want to say the Peep Snake, phenomenal one. For my prestige colleague, for Mr. 411, I am your uncle, Triple C, thanking everybody from Vegas. Hey, listen, baby Riyadh. Thank you for the house.
We'll see you next week, guys. This is insane. Phenomenal Nate. And the uncle. Peace.
I think there's only one thing left to say. That's it.
That's it. See you next week, guys. Peace, love, farewell.